I have not yet met anyone who knows what a platform is.
The platforms have given us all these diversity, and being intermediaries, they have enabled the digital economy to flourish. The more platforms there are, the better for the economy. We have to define the problem. What is the problem in order to regulate? To tackle the problems and not to put obstacles on innovation.
The European Commission consultation on the matter seems to assume that a platform is a business engaged in multi-sided markets, bringing together different but interdependent groups of users. But one of the problems with this definition is that it applies to an enormous variety of companies, ranging from search engines and social media to newspapers, discos, or even conferences.
The Commission should look at these markets so they understand them, but I don't think there's any basis for regulation at this point in time. And in any case, I think competition law would be an adequate tool if there were problems.
We cannot go to the question of regulation of these platforms unless we have some real understanding of what a platform is and whether there are problems associated with them. The Commission is doing the right thing in the sense that it is gathering evidence and gathering points of view. And the main thing that we want to do is ensure that regulation is done on the basis of evidence rather than just a knee-jerk reaction to say platforms have too much power or we need to protect European players.
Well, the Commission's going to need to think very carefully about what problems there actually are in the market, and only then, once it's thought about any problems, it's going to need to consider whether there are rules which deal with those problems, and then only after that, whether there's any gaps in those rules that they might need to deal with.
From a perspective of financial markets, where we're very active, interacting with fund managers every day, we don't see any need for regulation. In fact, e-commerce companies in Europe are doing very, very well. They can access money on the public markets, they can access money in the private markets, and they can spend that money.
Well, the main platforms today work as ecosystems. For example, when you use Google search, you might also use Gmail, you might also use Google Drive, and etc., which leads to the fact that most people actually spend most of their time within a handful, really, of platforms, what we call an oligopoly, and this leads to some concerns regarding, for example, competition law, consumers' protection and privacy. The law is not at fault. Its effectiveness might be. Its enforcement, really. And we need to adapt the procedures of law in order to keep pace with this extremely fast-moving environment. With that, we don't think there is a need to adapt the substantive law, just the procedures.
Well, if there is a particular concern, a public interest that you identify, then you might impose regulation. But what we learn also is that if you want to address public interest of preventing people to get locked in, you might also kill innovation, which is also public interest. So you have to balance the public interest when you're making a decision like that. And in general, I wouldn't say in general you need to regulate platforms, but you have to look at it on a case-by-case basis, and start by analyzing business models, and then you become wiser.